What about you, Mrs. Carlson?
Oh, I'm really much happier than I have a right to be. I love to walk. I love to sing. I love to work in my gardens. I love to fix meals for my husband, to wash his clothes.
Mrs. Carlson, you're trying to tell us that you picture yourself as a transplanted lotus blossom, Madame Butterfly?
Yes. How nice of you, Mr. Beaumont. Perhaps I think of myself that way. But without the sad moments, of course. I only like the butterfly when she's happy.
Well, that's a magnificent put-on, and you know it. Now, why don't you just take off the mask and tell her like it is, huh?
Are you angry with me because I'm happy? Perhaps you're not so happy. Do you think that's why he talks to me this way, Doctor?
Well, you try and work that out with the others here, because I can't be a refuge for you, Nancy.
You know, when I first met Mrs. Carlson here, I thought she was a nice, honest gal, but boy, what an act, huh? What a performance.
Now, just a minute. I don't think you're being quite fair. After all, we've only been here for a short time. Why don't you give her a chance to settle down before you start picking on her?
Second the motion, so Madame Butterfly here's got herself an axe. No reason to climb all over her.
All right, ladies, all right.
Besides, we all came equipped with a false front, didn't we, Mr. Taylor?
Yes, well, what about yours, Mrs. Marlowe? I can't seem to quite figure you out.
I was just thinking the same thing about Father Richardson over there.
Oh, now, come on. Can't we just make it Sam? I thought we were going to use just first names.
That's right. We did agree on that.
All right, Sam, I've been meaning to ask. Now, how come you're out of uniform? No Roman collar, no nothing?
Well, we're going to be here for a long time. I thought it'd be a little more comfortable. Don't you agree, Jim?
Oh, I wouldn't know. I'm a college professor, not a priest. Father.
Mm-hmm. What's bothering you?
Not a thing.
Oh, I don't think you're telling the truth, Mr. Beaumont. Something is bothering you, so why don't you
Now, why don't you cool it, Miss Butterfly? You're not qualified to take over as my therapist.
My, such a thin-skinned professor?
I have a very low boiling point for women who think they know all the answers.
Meaning who?
Well, if the shoe fits, Betty, be my guest.
Boy, what's eating you? Listen, we're going to have to be here for 36 hours.
All right. Now, look, now,
this
isn't going to get us anywhere, believe me.
Insight. Stories of spiritual conflict in the 20th century. Insight.
It's a sad but inescapable fact that most of us play act with each other most of the time. We live behind a protective mask as strangers to one another. What you've just witnessed is the beginning of what psychologists call a basic encounter group. Its participants come together, sometimes for an extended period of time, in order to gain a greater knowledge of themselves and of their fellow human beings. They do this by stripping away the mask, by stepping out of role, and by revealing their true feelings to each other. This is a profound, intensely human, sometimes harrowing experience. For some, it signifies a marked change in their lives. For others, the results are more uncertain, more obscure.
And while we're on the subject, you know, spending 36 hours in this room is not exactly my idea of a fun weekend.
Here.
But I don't mind letting my hair down. That's why I'm here, isn't it?
Yes. Care to talk about it?
My big trouble is men. I like them too much, and I like too many of them.
You married, Betty?
I was. 9 years. My husband finally divorced me.
Because he knew you were seeing another man?
Honey, I thought I put it in the plural, men. In 9 years, I've had a couple of dozen affairs going.
Why? Didn't you love your husband?
I thought I loved him quite a bit. The outside attraction was just too strong, that's all. I couldn't seem to help myself. I can't seem to help myself.
Betty, did any of these affairs have any meaning for you?
None, neither before nor after I was married.
What did you feel after these affairs were over?
Numbness, I guess. Remorse, there's always that. Wow, is there ever. I swore I'd never let it happen again, but a week would go by, 2 weeks, meet another man, and back on the same old merry-go-round.
Why didn't you try to find help?
Look, there's help for everything except what I've got. You're a boozer, you call Alcoholics Anonymous. Gamblers call Gamblers Anonymous. You want to check out altogether, you call suicide prevention. But where in the yellow pages can you find Adulterers Anonymous?
Feelings of guilt. They must have been tremendous.
They are.
Sorry, Betty.
Thanks.
Oh, come on now. Now, how come we're all tearing out our hearts for dear old Betty here, huh? Now, she decided a long time ago that the best way to enjoy life was in the bedroom. Now, obviously, she's been quite successful. That's why that cop-out of remorse and guilt sounds just a trifle hollow. No. I think Betty adores her lovely sins. The point is, she also wants our sympathy.
Look, the day I need your sympathy, yours or anybody else's in this room.
Betty, may I say something that I think might help a little bit? I don't think it's a question of needing sympathy. Maybe compassion's a better word. Learning to share our suffering. Share your hang-ups and your faults with each other. Lord knows we all need help.
What's all this Lord knows business, huh? We're having a revival meeting?
What's bugging you, Jim?
What's bugging me is you, Big Father Sam. You're not here for group therapy. You're here to do some inside missionary work. You can't put me on.
You're doing some pretty good inside work of your own, aren't you? You haven't had one constructive word to say since we started this session. Now, what are you so mad about?
I don't like you. I don't like anything you stand for, and I don't think you belong here.
But he is here, Jim.
All right, Doctor. It's your ball game. Oh, besides being a professor of sociology, I'd just like you to know that I am also a devout 110% atheist. Now, how does that grab you, Sam? I think your God is a phony, I think your church is a phony, and I think you're a phony.
So?
Well, that's a very Christian attitude, Sam. Sure you can't work up a little dislike for me? Maybe some righteous indignation?
I'm sorry, Jim. I just can't oblige you.
Boy, that's some attitude for a priest.
Yeah, I haven't met many like him. Hey, Sam, you sure you haven't been defrocked or something like that?
No. I'm a duly ordained priest, and I'm in good standing with my church.
But the fact you're here is an admission you have problems. What is it, huh? Did some sweet young thing confess her indiscretions and get you all in an uproar?
Just a moment.
Or maybe you're in trouble with your superiors, huh? The great Roman Catholic hierarchy.
Oh, wait a minute,
I really think you're going a little
It's
bit
all right.
far.
It's all right.
Can't we stop this?
Look, like any other average mortal, I have my problems. So do you.
A great penetrating eye. Well, just what is it that I'm tussling with?
I'm not sure. I think it's yourself, your disbelief. Well, look, if all religion is phony and God is dead, then why is it so important to you? Why do you let it bug you so much?
Oh, what gave you that impression?
Oh, come on. The minute you knew I was a priest, you registered. Instant hostility.
Stick to the pulpit, Father. Head shrinking's way out of your line.
You haven't answered the question.
Now, what question?
If God is dead, you're angry in a vacuum. You're red-faced, hopping mad about something that isn't even there. Now, that hardly seems logical, does it?
Superstition and hypocrisy always make me angry.
Let me ask you one more
Now,
question.
what are you starting here? Another inquisition? Now, you asked to be treated just like every other member of this group.
Yeah.
Well, now you're ready to hear all our sins, pat us on the head, and hand out cut-rate forgiveness. Now, I don't like you, Big Father Sam, not a bit. So the fact is, I hate your guts. I hate your guts. You read me.
Loud and clear, Jim.
coffee? Black?
What? Oh, sorry.
What's so funny, Nancy? Is it a private joke, or can we all share it?
Oh, it's Bill. Look at him.
I guess I was half asleep, like I was dreaming or something. I was seeing people, things, and myself like I never really saw them before, like the way they really are.
The way things really are?
Things, yes.
What do you mean?
Well, I was thinking back to my high school days. I always liked to meet people. I guess I was what you would call a sort of a backslapper. Everybody was my buddy. I knew everybody by their first name. In fact, even today, old Bill Taylor, he knows everybody. The truth is, I don't really know anybody. Oh, a slap on the back, a big hello, a handshake, but I don't know them and they don't know me. It's all one big snow job. Can you imagine? I've been married 26 years. I've got kids in college and I don't know them. They don't know me. Lived in the same neighborhood for 20 years, have the same friends, and I still don't know them.
What about your wife?
Same thing? Oh, it was the same thing. Margaret died 2 years ago. And do you know that from the first day I met her until that last day in the hospital, I never really let her see inside of me. I tried to, I wanted to, but I couldn't. I just didn't know how. I've never been able to let people really see how I feel. I've built a wall around myself. Nothing can get out. Nothing gets in either.
There must be a way to break through that wall.
Nancy, you're a very nice person. I'm sorry I called you a...
That's all right. We have much in common, all of us. You were right. You and Jim. I have been play acting. Little Madam Butterfly. I thought it was expected of me to be gay and happy and smiling all the time. But it just isn't human. Sometimes we're angry or proud. Or we just want to cry. Why can't we let it come out?
Why do you think it's necessary to start putting on an act to begin with?
Because of my husband. See, we met. He was in the army stationed in Japan. He called me his happy little geisha doll. And we've been married almost 10 years. And I still must act like a child.
Why, Nancy?
Because it pleases my husband. He never wants to be around when I'm sad or when I'm human. I must make him understand that his little geisha doll has grown up. Thank you, Bill.
It's okay?
Anybody want some more coffee?
No, thanks. I already have some.
Bill?
Yes, please.
Jim?
When I'm ready, I'll get it myself.
Boy, you certainly have a chip on your shoulder.
Well, why is he always trying to sell himself to me?
Oh, will you quit acting so childishly? We're here to get something off our chests and take a good hard look at ourselves, and you
All
keep
right,
hiding.
well, how about us having a good hard look at you? Now, what's your hang-up? Trying to keep your saintly but psychotic vow of celibacy?
Oh, come on, Jim. I was born with the same set of drives and instincts as everyone else in this room. Just because I took a vow of celibacy doesn't mean I've changed a bit physically.
No.
Now, I'll tell you like it is. I chose celibacy because it works for me. For me, it's a rewarding and enriching way of life, and I'm not trying to sell it to you, so don't try to sell me.
Thanks.
Well, if sex and celibacy isn't your problem, what is?
Me. Big Father Sam, what you all think I'm supposed to be. The authority figure, the father figure, the guy with all the answers. I'm just not that man. I'm Sam Richardson of Napa, California. Took an option on the priesthood when I was in my last year of high school. I've been trying to make the grade ever since. I didn't want to be any authority figure. Not that it's bad, it just isn't,
Not your bag.
Oh, thank you, my bag. Just wanted to be close to people. Try to help them. Have myself time to study and pray.
Here we go.
I like to pray. I need to pray.
All right, but what's happening inside you? Now, what's the real gut problem?
When I was ordained, I was very close to my pastor. And I was reassigned. We went our separate ways. Now I have my own parish, and he's my bishop.
You should be very happy.
I'm not.
Why?
Well, the church is changing. I'm changing. I loved that man. He helped me, encouraged me, he practically brought me up. But I can't bridge that gap. I'm a young man. I'm living in the 20th century. I cannot and will not step back into the 19th. My bishop, the man I most honor, respect, I love, refuses to step into the 20th. He's holding me back, the entire diocese back. And sometimes I get so mad, I wish that...
What?
that he were dead.
Have you told him how you feel?
No, I just stay away. Couldn't tell him without hurting him.
Don't you know that staying away hurts him?
How can he move forward if nobody tells him?
He's 76 years old.
But he needs your advice. He's your friend. You owe him that.
I guess you're right.
Very good, Miss Fix-It. But now that you've opened up the good father's problem, what's yours? Or did you just come along for the ride?
Mine's not that fascinating.
Oh, come on.
It's just a marital problem.
We have quite a supply of those.
This is different. I had a good marriage. And for 2 years, he's been sleeping with that tramp.
Maybe he wasn't getting what he needed at home.
I thought I'd go crazy. So finally, I went to their apartment, and I saw them together. Oh, my God, if I had a gun, I would have shot them both.
You knew your husband was having an affair. You did nothing for 2 years?
I had my pride.
Good luck.
Oh, why don't you sit down? This isn't a zoo.
Don't you ever have a friendly word for anybody?
Well, I didn't think we came here for friendly words.
Jim,
Hmm?
do you have many friends?
No. Not really. At least none that come close to my idea of a real friend.
Oh, come on, Jim. I think you're fooling yourself. There's got to have been someone, sometime that you really cared about.
I was in my sophomore year in college, and it was like nothing that ever's happened before or since. She was everything to me. Friend, lover, wife. This'll give you a good laugh, Sam. The only problem we ever had was that she believed in God. She was always trying to convert me. I can't explain. It was just too damn deep, too rich and too good. There was something so special behind that face, behind those eyes. I know I'll never feel that way again as long as I live.
What happened?
She's dead.
I'm sorry.
Leukemia. I watched her die. I watched the one good, beautiful thing in my whole life die, and I couldn't do a damn thing about it. That day after she was buried, I went back up to her grave again, and I just stood there and I started to yell. Now, you listen to me, God. You killed her. And she loved you. She believed in you. She worshipped you. And you let her die. Now, you hear me. I hate your lousy guts, God.
You know, Jim, I think God would rather be abused than ignored.
You sure have all the answers, Sam.
Your love for that girl was such a beautiful thing. I wish that ours had been like that when we were 25.
You just finished telling us you didn't have much to offer in that department.
I never said that. Just after I was married, there was this boy that I went with in college.
And he finally broke through that wall of ice.
For God's sake, why don't you shut up?
Now, look, I can say anything I want.
What happened, Fran?
We had an affair. You see, I was a virgin when we married. And I wanted to see what it was. It was a mistake. I didn't love him.
Why don't you tell your husband?
I can't. He's given up that other woman. And he thinks that I'm decent. It would ruin everything.
Fran, are you sure that it would? Wouldn't it maybe bring you closer together? Make you love each other more?
Yes, it would.
Hey, Sam. You know, you talk an awful lot about love for a guy who's never been there. You know, I just don't understand this whole celibacy kick. Can you honestly tell me that you've never wanted to go to bed with a woman?
Oh, Betty, come on. Look, for me, free choice. Sam Richardson forgoes a wife, the marital bed and all of its beautiful and blessed pleasures. Forgoes a family, a home, for a much larger home, a much larger family.
Yes, but sexual abstinence just isn't normal. It isn't natural for a healthy man.
Right, it isn't normal. The sex drive's too strong, especially for you.
Oh, why especially for me?
Because you're a very handsome, a very healthy man.
Well. Isn't this an interesting confrontation?
Sam. Do you like me?
Yes, Betty, I like you very much.
Do you think you could love me?
Yeah, I think that's possible.
I want you to make love to me.
I can't, Betty. Not and remain true to myself. I wouldn't be loving you. I'd just be using you.
Would that be so bad?
Yes, it would be for me.
Why?
Because you're not a thing, Betty. Objects, things, they're to be used. But people aren't for using. Well, using people is not only insulting, it's destructive.
But I'm alive. I'm able and willing, so use me if you want. I give you my full permission.
Why me?
Because with you, it wouldn't just be sex. But you have compassion, warmth.
Betty, I want to be compassionate. I try to be loving, to give. I'm a priest. And I'm celibate.
That's a cop-out, Sam.
That's who I am, Betty. That's what I have to give. You're a woman.
Yes, I'm a woman, and sex to you is dirty, isn't it? It's degrading.
No.
But can't you see that it can be more than just that? Don't you understand that you wouldn't be using me? You'd be giving me something that I need. I'm only good in bed. It's the only place that I feel alive.
Betty, you're not a thing.
No, you hate me like everybody else.
No, I do not hate you.
But I'm not
Betty.
a slut. I have more to give than just my body. I have so much love to give.
I know that. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Then why won't you love me, Sam? Oh, for God's sake, love me!
Betty. I do love you. For God's sake.
Insight is a production of the Paulist Fathers, a group of Catholic priests who serve their God by serving those outside their church.